We've actually had 4 episodes with Dr. Ncuti as the star of Doctor Who, 14th season. Season 1, if you're doing the RTD methodology now. And so far, this actually may be the best of the 4 we've seen.
Boy, that is... talk about setting the bar low.
Consistent with what we've already heard RTD state regarding the importance of messaging over storytelling. At least that's how I'm reading that article. Former showrunner Steven Moffat from the Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi era returns to give us a new story called Boom, which, from what I can tell, focuses on 3 themes that are consistent throughout. AI is bad, faith is bad, capitalism is bad.
This is the age of social justice.
No, it's not the same social justice messaging that we've been seeing from RTD, focusing primarily on gender sexuality issues. Different type of messaging. So how do we find Dr. Ncuti and Ruby in this case? Well, this all starts on a planet called Casterion, where the Anglican Marines are there. I think that's the dig on the Anglican Church of England. So that's partly addressing the faith element. And we see one of these Anglican soldiers, a widowed father named John Francis Vader.
Is Darth Vader my father?
Yeah, actually, first I thought they said Vader, not Vader. And I'll probably keep saying Vader instead of Vader. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, Vader has been temporarily blinded in an accident, and another soldier is helping him back to camp. Along the way, we learn that the Anglican Marines have never seen the enemy they're there to fight. They think they're in the fog or perhaps in the mud, but they've never seen the Casterians.
Like, they're made of fog. That's why we never see them.
Well, while they're walking back to camp, the other soldier gets blown up by a landmine. And John is then approached by an AI ambulance. AI ambulance is supplied by a galactic military industrial company that apparently supplies arms to both sides. And the AI of the ambulance, the algorithm, determines that it's going to be too costly to heal him.
4 weeks. Evaluation unacceptable.
The humane thing to do is to kill him. And it basically just zaps him, sucks basically all what I can guess is to be the moisture out of his body. And he's kind of compressed down into this weird little fleshy tube that has an AI circuit embedded in it. But it's kind of really disgusting looking. We also get another kind of hint at the, let's just say, animosity towards the idea of faith, with a mocking statement of thoughts and prayers from the AI ambulance.
The Villain Guard Corporation would like to extend its deepest condolences on your upcoming loss. Thoughts and prayers.
Presume this is going towards the what we often see when there's tragedies and such, in which people offer thoughts and prayers. Well, just as the guy gets killed, Vader gets killed, the TARDIS shows up.
Did you hear that?
Give me a sec.
Someone's in trouble.
And hearing the screams, the Doctor rushes out of the TARDIS, runs into the battlefield, because, yeah, this is a really smart thing to do. And I see a lot of people make fun of the way Ncuti's running. It definitely looks silly. It kind of looks like he's running against the volume or a green screen. Regardless, he's out there running. I guess is the first time he's trying to be heroic, because we don't really get to see the Doctor doing that so far in the show, because he's not the Doctor. He's Dr. Ncuti.
Because I am absolutely lovely, aren't I?
So guess what he happens to run into? Yeah. He steps on a landmine. Now, the landmine doesn't quite go off because it doesn't know yet if the Doctor's a target or not yet. Ruby runs out to find him because she follows the Doctor singing.
Why are you singing?
Yeah, the doctor's singing for some reason. The only thing I can figure is now there's some requirement that at least every other episode, Ncuti Gatwa has to sing. Because we've already seen singing in Church on Ruby Road. We've seen it in the one with Maestro, the Devil's Court, and now we got more singing here. So I guess this is part of the requirement of Ncuti Gatwa's contract. So Ruby runs up and finds the doctor standing on the landmine. She asks what's happening, and he basically says, it's a landmine. Why is it glowing like that? What's going on? And he says capitalism.
Why does a landmine have lights on it?
Capitalism.
Excuse me?
Yeah, so basically what he explains is because flashy weapons sell better, that's why it's flashing, providing a visual countdown. This is beginning the diatribe on capitalism bad. Now, I think actually there is some point to be made here in the show, an anti-war point, and that's not uncommon in science fiction shows. I just think they do it badly because I think Moffat's conflating capitalism with war profiteering. Certainly, there are bad elements of capitalism, and in fact, let's just remember when a certain big-eared race first appeared on The Next Generation.
Likens the Ferengi to the ocean-going Yankee traders. I believe the analogy refers to the worst quality of capitalists.
Yeah, the Ferengi. He called them Yankee traders, and that they epitomized all the worst elements of capitalism. He just focused on that, the worst elements. Caveat emptor, he explains, let the buyer beware, meaning that the buyer's not taken care of, the profit over the buyer. That idea that no matter what, profit is king. Now, certainly, I got no problem with people making profit. We should not be taking advantage of people, but that's not what capitalism really is about. Capitalism is more about, in my opinion, people having the opportunity to use the free market to create wealth, prosperity for themselves. Apparently, that's bad because, of course, communism's awesome. It just hasn't been done right. Let's ask those 200 million people that have died as a result of communism and socialism. I think it's 200 million. It's at least 100. It's a lot of people. Regardless, without getting off on the political diatribe, capitalism, which is really supposed to be war profiteering in this, is bad, especially since the war machine is selling to both sides. So look, I agree, that's bad. And we should, promote an anti-war message, because certainly war simply for profit is not a good thing. But that's not what they focus on. They just focus on the idea of capitalism. And I think that's where Moffat may really lose part of the storyline here. And I think it actually takes away from it, makes it more heavy-handed than it should be.
It got away from me, yeah.
Now, the doctor's been balancing himself on one foot for a good bit of time, and he needs to put his other left foot down so he can, achieve some balance and not set off the mine. Ruby finds John Vader's fleshy coffin, and they arrange a switch so that the doctor can use it as a counterbalance and stand on both feet. And at that point, the doctor accidentally activates the AI.
Hello, I'm John Francis Vader, deceased.
Now, the AI is a semi-reconstruction of John Vader's memories and recollections. He explains what happens, how he died, how they got there, fighting the Casterians. And while this is happening, all of a sudden, John's daughter, Splice, shows up on the scene.
Is my daddy there? I heard him.
Now, she had been back at the base, which apparently wasn't that far away because she was able to get here pretty quick since the beginning of the episode. Literally maybe 20 minutes have passed, so she just ran through a battlefield with invisible mines without a problem.
It doesn't make sense.
And she heard her dad's voice, so she wants to find her dad. Keeps asking the doctor, Ncuti, and Ruby, where's my dad? And that's when the AI appears. And what does this smart little girl do? Well, she runs right at the AI.
Wait, Daddy!
There is a lot of weird stuff that goes on with this girl. She appears to be like 10 or 11 years old, but she acts like a 4-year-old mentally. She seems to think that the AI is her father to begin with, because she reaches out to touch it. And then she says later on it's a hologram. And then the hologram starts showing her photos of what her and her dad did together. And she sits down enraptured by it.
That's when we saw the antelope.
This is really awkward and weird. I mean, her dad just died. And now she's just sitting there like, oh, look at these lovely photos. That's when we saw an antelope.
This behavior is inconsistent with logic.
There's a lot of disconnect and discontinuity in this episode.
The inconsistencies are so compounded.
And you know, there's another inconsistency in this episode itself. In the beginning, when Ruby was trying to hand Dr. Ncuti the fleshy canister, he didn't want her to do it. He wanted her to toss it to him because he was afraid that she would get caught in the blast.
You'll have a much better chance if I just put it in your hand.
If it goes wrong, you will be caught in the blast.
Now, what's inconsistent is that later on, he says, you know, I'm a Time Lord, and if I blow, I'm going to take half the planet with me.
Put a quantum chain reaction through me and I will shatter this silly little battlefield of yours into dust.
You would think at some point these writers would read their own script and say, well, he said this here, and later on he says this, so why would he tell Ruby to run if he knows he's a complex, you know, time space event, and if he explodes, he'll take half the planet with him. And even more, he knows what this device is because he tried to defuse one before.
Had to deactivate one of these once at a lesbian gymkhana underwater.
I honestly have no idea what a lesbian gymkhana is. Gymkhana?
Shut up and Google.
But thank God, you know, we at least got to have lesbians mentioned again in an episode, because you know, it's not modern Dr. Ncuti without mentioning lesbians, apparently.
I think it's gratuitous, but whatever.
Now, shortly after Splice shows up, another Anglican Marine named Mundy shows up and tells Dr. Ncuti to drop the canister.
Are you aware those are the sacred remains of an ordained Anglican?
So she ends up shooting Dr. Ncuti. The Dr. Ncuti refuses to drop it because if it does, it'll set off the mine. And he's figured out in the interim that the mine will basically turn himself into the explosion.
I'm the explosive.
So what that means, if he was a normal human, it would just be a small explosion. But he's not a normal human.
I am a higher dimension life form. I am a complex space-time event.
Yeah, he's a Time Lord, brimming with Time Lord energy. What that means is if the mine goes off and blows him up, it's going to blow up half the planet.
You could blow up half of this planet.
Mundy suddenly believes the doctor, sees that the scans confirm that, you know, if he goes, the entire half the planet will go, which will kill all the Anglican Marines fighting the visible enemy on the planet. And basically she agrees to help him. At that point, one of those AI ambulances shows up.
Stop it.
Patient acquired.
Please stop it.
And launches a bunch of sensor prongs into the doctor.
Would you like to look?
Not certain if it's because he's Time Lord or what, but it starts causing some problems. And Ruby decides she's going to create an alternative combat situation, since that's how the ambulances arrive on the situation. They assess the situation if there's combat, and she goes off and starts shooting a gun in the air. That's not enough though, so Mundy says, shoot me in my arm, just a stun blast in the arm. That'll give the bot enough reason to come heal me and stop taking care of Dr. Ncuti. So just as Ruby aims to take a shot, another Anglican Marine shows up, and this is Canto. Canto is a guy, this is part of the B story, which is present, but takes up time that it shouldn't. Canto is kind of has a crush on Mundy. He shows up and shoots Ruby. Ruby tumbles down the embankment, and all Dr. Ncuti can do is stare and cry. The AI bot ambulance latches on to Ruby, and then it starts to snow. See, Ruby's dying. The AI bot says she's only got 7 minutes left to live. Now, that's important. Why? Because again, this goes with the lack of consistency in this show. She's got 7 minutes to live. So, timestamp this. It is timestamp 2800. So at this point, we got mortality in 432. And our timestamp is 28 minutes, right? So that's about 7 minutes. Here's consistency for you. We had all this other stuff going on. We're not even addressing Ruby, right? We're not even paying attention to Ruby at this point. 7 minutes pass. No attention to Ruby. What are we doing? We're being sidetracked by all this other stuff. We're being sidetracked by Canto showing up and him and Mundy expressing feelings for each other.
Canto, do you like me?
Of course I like you. Everyone knows I like you.
And then he gets killed. And then she feels bad about it because apparently he was in love with her.
If anything happens to me, I want you to know that I love you.
This is a disjoint in the episode. So we're supposed to have all this tension, right? It's actually supposed to be a very tense scene, and literally it stops and like, so you like me? Do you like me? I don't know. Do you like me? We have this weird, like, CW awkward conversation between two adults who were acting like high schoolers. Do they like each other?
Complete waste of time.
So in this interim 7 minutes before Ruby dies, the doctor comes up with a solution and tells Mundy to surrender because the Anglicans are not fighting anyone. They're fighting the algorithm that the military complex has come up with in order to enrich itself. But they refuse to recognize it because they have faith.
Because they have faith.
Shut up!
Faith! The magic word that keeps you never having to think for yourself.
Yes, he calls it that magic word that keeps you never having to think for yourself. Trust the science, I've heard other people say. Don't trust faith. Mundy says, I need proof. And then he turns it back on. Now you need proof?
Now you need proof. Faith, Giao.
So the doctor can't do anything himself. Instead, he tries to convince the AI algorithm of John Vater to go find evidence that the military complex algorithm is killing everybody.
Yes, sir.
I need you to download yourself into the Belengard battle computer, find proof that the planet is uninhabited and that the casualty rate is hardware driven.
And this literally is the contradiction in this whole thing regarding faith. He says, dad to dad, you never let kids down, right?
However little is left of you, you are still a father. Dad to dad, you never let them down, right?
This is an act of faith. The doctor's railing against faith, railing against the Anglican Marines for having faith in God, but he has a faith in an AI. The AI says, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm just an AI. Even Mundy says the same thing, but the doctor has faith that somehow the essence of John Vater is still in the AI simulation that's left.
Call it an act of faith.
So while the doctor stands there waiting for the bomb to blow, Ruby, of course, is dead at this point because 7 minutes has passed, but we're not addressing that, I guess. Canto, who's trying to get the ambulance to heal Ruby, is also killed. That's when Mundy learns that he was in love with her. This upsets her. Now everyone's upset. Things look very dire, but thank God the AI comes through in the end.
Dad to dad, dust to dust, dust.
Kiss, kiss.
Virus alert. Virus out.
Kiss, kiss.
Yeah, that's right. AI John comes through at the end. Yeah. Dad saves a day. Not Dr. Ncuti. Dad saves a day. So all the AI ambulances turn around, no longer go on to attack. The one that was attached to Ruby reactivates the revivification process.
Revivification protocol initiated.
Yeah, because she was dead. She was dead. And everything ends up okay. In the end, Dr. Ncuti, Ruby, Mundy, and Splice are looking at the beautiful vista. And I think Mundy says, thought you didn't believe in faith.
I thought you didn't like faith much, Doctor.
Just because I don't like it, doesn't mean I don't need it.
And with that weird little quip, Dr. Ncuti and Ruby are off for more adventure. So, this again was not the worst of the shows. Pacing was off. Still had some bad dialogue. Dr. Ncuti continues not to be authoritative. Dr. Ncuti does not save the day. He is not acting heroic, in my opinion. And he is way emotional. I counted at least 6 times that he teared up throughout this episode.
You see that?
Ruby, can you hear?
What do we do?
Where's my daddy? I'm not.
Dad to dad.
I think he cried in Space Babies. I think he cried last episode. This is, I get, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe he's got a contract that says you got to cry. Same thing as you get to sing. I'm just not buying Dr. Ncuti as the doctor who's lived thousands of years. I'm just not buying it yet. I understand this whole thing about the bi-generation and all that bullshit, but he's not being a heroic character. He's not being a heroic doctor. And that is what people want to see. That's what Doctor Who has been for almost 60 years. Doctor Who has always been a hero. Just not getting it from Dr. Ncuti. As for Ruby, I guess she's okay. Again, she's a Zoomer, speaking like a Zoomer. I couldn't take it in real life that long, probably. And we still have our mystery with her. The snow shows up in this episode and stops again. Computer says she's over 3,000 years old. I think that may have something to do with the fact that it's going from a future date back to her date of birth. So they're just 3,000 years in the future from when she was born. I don't think she's actually 3,000 years old, but we'll see, because again, she is the girl that's the key to everything.
I'm the impossible girl.
What she's the key to, we don't know. We're already 3 episodes in of this 8-episode season of the first year of Dr. Ncuti. We'll see what happens next when Dr. Ncuti and Ruby go to Wales. And then it just becomes a Ruby show. Let's see if Millie Gibson can carry a show all by herself. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click like, click subscribe. See you guys later.